Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're all doing well, and welcome to the showdown between the Warriors of Chaos and Lizardmen here on Chateau de Roquefort. It's going to be myself with Kholek and the dreaded Nurglecaster facing off against Subutai, who's going to be rocking a Dread Saurian with a Life Slan, classic combo like Karl Franz with Regrowth. It should be a Clash of the Titans. Now, as far as the build goes, it's going to be basic Marauders. And, I spent a lot of my characters and heroes, right? Aecold is here. He's really good at killing Saurus. We do also have Kholek, who's quite expensive, and a Nurglecaster, who isn't the cheapest thing ever. So, our core is going to be pretty haggard. And on top of that, we have another super cool unit. We do have the Knights of the Brazen Throne. Love these things. They remind me of Wookiee. Like, Wookiee was kind of built like, that was my little Affenpuncher pug monstrosity I had years ago. But yeah, Wookiee was kind of built like this. These are like little evil pug bulldog knights, I suppose. But yeah, against lizards, they're a little bit vulnerable against the Cold Spear Riders. But if you can get them on Saurus and infantry, they'll wreck them really, really badly. So that was kind of the idea, was to hide them in the bushes and do an ambush, which is very Khorne-like, I'm sure. And yeah, Kholek isn't bad in this matchup. He's a little bit vulnerable to some of the poke, but now that you can bring a Nurglecaster, it's not nearly as bad, and he himself can bonk the big dinosaurs. For Subutai's army, he does have the Dread Saurian, backed up by a million Saurus warriors, a Life Slan, going to be healing up the big man, and a Bastillodon Solar Engine. So he is immune to flanking after 5.1. And also the Solar Engine, this is great. It gives a nearby Vigor replenishment. So units that are near it over the course of a long game are going to be enjoying the benefits of the Solar Engine, which is quite cool. Yep, and that is it. So we'll do some fast forwarding while the two armies do posture up and prepare to do glorious battle here. Kholek, the Star Crusher, thinking about coming in and doing some battle with the Dread Saurian, does get poked a couple times by the laser beams. But soon the fighting will begin, and my trap is being falled for here. I was like, yeah, it's good, Anakin, good. We do see the Saurus warriors with shields moving over here, and my Bulldog Knights, my Wookiee Knights, waiting in the bushes to try and pounce on these Saurus. So I was hoping they would overextend a little bit more. Now, as far as this fighting goes, I will be moving up on the objectives. Lizards do have a nice little stranglehold here, and Kholek is going to be taking a fight against the Dread Saurian. Dread Saurians do turn around really, really slowly, so I was hoping Kholek could come in and bonk him at least once. But alas, he doesn't get the bonk in there. I was a little bit sad about that. So we kind of bump into him, but don't really make contact. Now in the front line, it's going to be Marauders for Saurus, which is a bad fight for me. Saurus will beat the brakes off Marauders, but I do have the Severed Claw arriving, and that's what I was waiting for, getting the Severed Claw in the middle fight and hoping they would do well. But he does countercharge him with the Red-Crested Skinks, which isn't good for me. So Severed Claw do engage, but I immediately pull them back, realizing that these are Red-Crested Skinks. Not a great fight, and we're going to be using the Chaos Armor Trolls to move in instead. We do form a bit of a shield wall here. Two Marauders going to be forming ranks against the Saurus Warriors, and big Chad Kholek getting ready to bonk it out with the Dread Saurian here. Should be a pretty fun fight. Kholek does have a much better stat line, but the Dread Saurian does have more HP and more weapon strength. Granted, Kholek does have that anti-large, but I do take some direct hits from the Solar Engine, which hurt. We do get good damage on the Dread Saurian, but overall my opponent comes out a little bit ahead in that fight, and you can see that reflected in the value here, but we will be getting our first heal. I did pop all my buffs too, the Star Crusher, the Tempest Rage, all of that goodness, but I am forced to retreat. Now the Dread Saurian's kind of overextending a little bit, which I was happy about. Slan going to be dropping a banishment here. Chaos Armored Trolls battling it out versus Kroxigors. It's actually a very good fight for me. Kroxigors do not trade super well into Armored Trolls. And now we have it right where we want it in the backfield. Star Crusher still active, 900 weapon strength. Big bonks on the Dread Saurian, big HP going down. And on the other side, the Bulldog Knights are able to catch some Saurus Warriors, overextended, and they plow through them. And that's probably a fair amount of damage too. Let's go ahead and check that. Yeah, that's a ton of work. So you see what I'm saying? If you can keep these Bulldog Knights kind of safe, they can do some great work in this matchup against very durable infantry. But unfortunately, I get a little bit stuck. Saurus Warriors do have really good mass, so many of my Wookiee Knights are going to be caught here as the Spear Riders are attempting to chase them down. So in response, I call up the Marauders to support a little bit. Back in the middle, we do get a great engagement, actually. We do have the Severed Claw versus Kroxigors, which is very cost-effective. And in the backfield, it's going to be Kholek, Aecold, and the Chaos Armored Trolls working here on the Saurus Warriors, and honestly doing some respectable work. Grinding them on down. So Collins are going to be Marauder Horsemen for throwing axes for myself, and for Subutai, seeing the threat of my large targets, including Trolls, and the Wookiee Knights, he is going to be calling in the Cold Spear Riders, which will be very, very strong here. I do decide to turn around and fight a little bit, so we are going to be getting the Knights of the Brazen Throne, fighting here shoulder to shoulder with some Marauders. I felt pretty comfortable doing that with the support of the Marauder Horsemen throwing axes nearby. I was like, it's going to be all right. And the middle objective looks like it might be going back to us. The value does slightly favor Lizards. We do both have quite a bit of healing. I do have the Trolls healing as well as Nurgle healing, but he probably has more because of the lore passive, the Light Bloom, and the amount of spells he's casting and triggering that. Here we do get charged, unfortunately, so very, very nice charge there. The Golden Spear Riders do get a couple picks. Knights of the Brazen Throne do pull back, having accrued how much value so far? Only 460, so not amazing. and the side objective is in a little bit of danger of being lost. Meanwhile, on the side, we get some Marauders versus Saurus. Also going to be a losing fight for us, but on the middle, it's starting to turn around a little bit. The Trolls, Aecold, and the Nurgle Sorcerer, and of course Kholek, have been getting a good grind, and this is a big opportunity for me to get back in the game. Now, remember what I say about Slann. They are the sweet, sweet sirens of the sea, of Lustria. You know, they will tempt you to the waters with their siren songs, but they're incredibly tough to kill, and they can often lure you to your doom. But Kholek, I figured, was up for the bonking, so we start bonking on this bad boy. And if we can kill this Slann, that's going to be a really, really bad fight for my opponent. It's going to put him in a terrible position. So that was the idea, to kill this Slann. Tempest Rage is activated, super heavy metal, big stat line buff, 90 melee attack. He sure as hell is not going to be missing this Battletoad, and he's going to keep bonking on this thing. While the middle, it's looking a little bit dangerous. Severed Claw does get a Fleshy Abundance though, so I drop a fat heal on them, and Severed Claw are such a good unit. Probably doing pretty well, yeah. Despite fighting a very hard fight, their value is very, very good. One mistake I was making, though, is leaving my Nurgle Sorcerer in here. He was potentially in big danger. And Kholek is on his way to killing this Slann. There isn't too much support nearby. Banishment going to be going down from the Battletoad on my Marauder Horseman. As the Knights of the Brazen Throne actually still continuing to generate good value. Armored Trolls are on their way in. A couple Spear Riders do pull back to protect the Battletoad. And the Battletoad is very, very close to breaking in 19 leadership here. And now the dreaded Dread Saurian is going to be on its way down. So Colin is going to be standard Chaos Warriors. Some rank and file boys will be moving in and grooving in. The Slann Mage does get slapped by a regrowth right there, and might be able to save him. If that regrowth hadn't got off before he broke, he's probably dead. So that was a really, really clutch play by my opponent here. And now the Cold Dawn Spear Riders blocking up Kholek. I was bummed about this for sure. I could taste the toad. I could taste the French cuisine, but I couldn't quite catch him. So here we do have Chaos Warriors as well as more Marauder Horsemen coming in. Severed Claw and Aecold fighting it out in the middle, but Severed Claw finally does break. And my Nurgle Sorcerer trying to get away, but before the game, I had him as a Deathcaster, and when I switched it, I forgot to put him back on a horse. So he was on foot, unfortunately, which was a mistake. He was supposed to be on a horse. I actually had the money for it. But, blunders happen. But here, Throwing Axe is going into the Feral Dread Saurian and trying to bonk this beast down. We might be able to get him. The Battletoad is on the run, and I was trying to chase him down, so I get some Chaos Warhounds looping around the side. They do get intercepted partially by the Croxagores, but I'm hoping that they'll be able to close the distance and maybe get the kill there, because we're starting to trade very, very well, I would say. The Dread Saurian's getting a beating. The Slann is also getting taken down. And if we can take out any number of these monsters, that's going to be great. And I got to say, Kholek is an absolute beast this game, and I love using him in this patch. He just got buffed in 5.12. I think he's slept on. I think Kholek is super good in a couple matchups, and a lot of the really fighty matchups, and where you're not dealing with powder and cannons and things like that, I find that he's good. So maybe Kholek against Nurgle I think could be decent, although Nurgle doesn't have a ton of large. Against Khorne for sure, although Valkia would be very cost effective against Kholek, which is a bit of a problem. Valkia is a very, very tough character to deal with. But here we do get Objective 3. We do take down the Dread Saurian, but the Battletoad has returned. So Palpatine somehow has came back. And this is actually one of the biggest misplays I made in the entire game. Letting the Chaos Sorcerer of Nurgle get killed by a Haggard Solar Engine, that was really, really bad. Because, I have a ton of Winds of Magic. Kholek is low, but if I get a big heal on Kholek here, I'm fairly confident I just win the game, because he's going to be able to run away with many of these fights. But the fact that my Nurgle caster is on the run, and now Kholek is in danger, I was starting to sweat bullets. You can see he's actually wavering here. We do have a lot of skink cohorts coming in for capture weight, because my opponent's heavily ahead on capture weight too, so going to be trying to take advantage of that swarming. Knights of the Brazen Throne, what kind of value are we looking at? About 1,400, so not terrible, not amazing though, but at least they did something and didn't just completely whiff. We do pop the Tempest Rage to try and get the kill on the Battletoad, but the sweet Siren of the Sea, or Lustria I should say, has lured us in once again, and Kholek going to be trying to reroute around the other side, while the Bastiladon put some good work in against the Chaos Warriors in the middle. Aecold and the Severed Claw still fighting hard. Aecold has been a pretty solid piece this game. 800 value, and he does of course have healing with the Breath of Life, so he is going to be passively healing, as are his shields. A couple Chaos Warhounds with poison in the bushes. They were the ones that were chasing this land, so I need to get those active again. So we're going to be taking this blob fight. Kholek thankfully did escape. He's going to be at 1,900, but 3,800 value. He's more than done enough work this game. I'm very, very happy with his performance. Marauder Horsemen providing supporting fire while the big Chaos Armored Trolls move in. Hoping to break this lizard position, we might be able to, and we have a lot of healing with the regeneration, with the Aecold fighting in the middle, so we have a lot of elements of our roster that are healing, and the Marauder Horsemen are out of ammo, so at this point I'm like, yeah, screw it, let's just charge into skink cohorts and give our trolls a little bit of buffering so they can have some extra ablative wounds. Now back in the middle, Aecold and the remnants of the Severed Claw going to be fighting it out. Kholek Sun Eater very, very low, and I do call my Nurgle caster back, but it's probably going to be a little too late. I don't know if he's going to arrive in time. It's going to be very, very close, because like I said, if Kholek just got healed up to like 3,000 HP, I win this fight here. We beat down the Croxagores, Aecold and company clear this out. We get a terror route, and Objective 2 is suddenly ours, right? But unfortunately, because we let our Sorcerer die to a really stupid situation and accidentally didn't put him on a horse, we get wrecked here pretty good. He is going to get Kholek. Kholek's going to get chased off the map most likely. I will do my best to try and salvage him. But on the side objective, it's also a little bit precarious. The Lizards have gotten a bit of a second wind. The value lead they've accrued against Kholek, and just the fact that their Battle Toad is still very active and functional. He lured me in with his sweet song. It's starting to become a little bit dodgy here. We do have some Chaos Warriors. Chaos Warriors are very stalwart fighters. I think some of the more cost-effective heavy infantry in the game. At 750, Chaos Warriors have such a good stat line and high armor and good leadership. They're freaking awesome, man. I'm really, really big enjoyer of Chaos Warriors. So these bad boys going to be moving up. Chaos Warriors sprinting up to the point. Aecold Hellbrass is going to be battling with those Skink cohorts. And here we do get the Chaos Sorcerer of Nurgle going to be weaseling his way on over to the far side as this Chad Bastillodon. This guy has been the absolute MVP for Subutai here. He not only killed my my caster, but also he's potentially going to get the killing blow on Kholek. Got to give you guys that sweet cinematic right here. So the Star Crusher's running away, but a job well done, mind you. Kholek was awesome this game. And 69 kills as well. I mean, what more could you ask for? My Nurgle caster on foot, just an absolute potato. Waddling over here, trying to get to Kholek. So that is, something we're working on. Chaos Warriors in the middle and Aecold fighting over the objective. Side objective, a little bit scary. It looks like the Croxagors have come in and cleared me out. So the lack of having Kholek around is allowing many of these large lizard units to run rampage on me. And from here, it probably is going to be GG, as Kholek is going to be running to the edge of the battlefield. And we tried our best. It was a really, really good match. His Bastillodon play was cool. We had some really nice trading back and forth with the big kaiju monsters. But from here, I don't have my leadership. My units, morale is going to be low. A lot of things are going bad. And that is that. But I really like the build. I think if we just, bring the Nurgle Sorcerer on horseback and maybe cut the Knights of the Brazen Throne, as badass as they are, they're just not like super good against lizards probably. I think Kholek was cool. Aecold was awesome. Nurgle Sorcerer just needs to be on horse. You cut these guys. Probably just getting some Chaos Knights would be better. If you just get Chaos Knights of like Khorne or something, they're way cheaper, more resilient with their shields. And then you could use that extra money to buffer up your army a little bit. As far as reinforcements go, Severed Claw are always good. Armored Trolls are good. I think Chosen with Halberds would have been a nice call in earlier too. I feel like they would have traded well. In my opponent's army, very standard. Slightly off meta, I suppose, with the Feral Dread Saurian. Normally you see the Howdah variant, but this one's cool too. And it did good. 2,300 value. Solar Engine got 1,300. Just a standard lizard army. Good healing value, good durability. It's what they're all about. So GG, well played. Hopefully you guys enjoyed seeing the Star Crusher in action. Doing very well. Not only the number of Slanesh, 69 kills, but also 4K value. That's something. GG, well played. See you guys around. And that is it for tonight.